The partner of a Brisbane quarantine hotel cleaner who contracted the UK strain of the virus has this afternoon also tested positive to COVID-19. The man has been in isolation since January 7. The positive test result hasn't stopped lockdown being lifted across Greater Brisbane. Let's go live now to reporter Jessica Rendell. Now, Jess, what can you tell us about this latest case?
Good evening, Lexi. Well, it hasn't been confirmed whether or not the man has the new UK strain of the virus. Genome sequencing is still underway, but authorities say it is very, very likely because he is the partner of that hotel cleaner who does have the UK strain of the virus. Now, he has been in isolation since the 7th of January, so they're not too concerned about him being out and about in the community. But in saying that, there have been 3 new locations added to that contact tracing list, and they are as follows. So the Nextra at Sunnybank Hills, the Bunnings at Acacia Ridge, and the Sunnybank Cellars as well. So the times and dates are on the Queensland Health website, and if you've been there on those times and dates that are listed, authorities are asking you to please go and get tested and quarantine for 14 days, regardless of if you are presenting symptoms or not. Now, despite lockdown being lifted here in Brisbane, there are some restrictions still in place, as Rachel Riga reports.
It was a different start to the working week in the River City, and then came the welcome news.
We are able to end our lockdown after 3 days.
We had an issue we had to solve, and this was a quick way of doing it.
So we'll go back to Cairns and I think we'll stay there for the rest of the year, won't we?
Probably, yeah.
Yes.
The stay-at-home orders were lifted at 6 p.m. The strict measures were sparked after a hotel quarantine cleaner spent 5 days in the community while infected with the highly contagious UK strain.
For the next 10 days, while we see out the 14-day incubation period, we still do have to be on heightened alert.
But several restrictions will remain in place across Greater Brisbane for the next 10 days. Everyone must carry a face mask when leaving home. They must be worn indoors at shopping centres, supermarkets, gyms, places of worship, airports, on planes, public transport and in taxis and rideshare. You won't need to wear one at work if you can socially distance while exercising outdoors or while travelling in your own vehicle.
When in doubt, wear a mask.
New rules also apply for businesses and venues. Diners at restaurants, cafes and pubs must be seated. Dancing is again banned but will be allowed at weddings. Funerals and weddings can have up to 100 attendees, while gatherings in homes and public will be capped at 20. Visitors won't be allowed at hospitals, aged care facilities, disability accommodation and prisons. And concert venues, theatres and outdoor stadiums are allowed 50% capacity. Just in time for the Gabba to host India for the 4th cricket test on Friday, with masks and socially distanced seating enforced for the 18,000-strong crowd. All ticket holders will be refunded and given the option to repurchase.
So those people will get first priority on ticket sales from Wednesday afternoon.
The Premier has defended the decision to send Greater Brisbane into a snap lockdown, saying it gave health authorities time to track down, test and quarantine close contacts of the cleaner with the highly contagious strain.
Definitely not an overreaction. It was absolutely supported by AHPPC. It was supported by National Cabinet.
Rachel Riga, ABC News, Brisbane.
Well, Jess, it's now been an hour since lockdown lifted. It's looking a little bit busy there. What's happening out on the streets?
Well, Lex, it's great to see Brisbane coming back to life. I'm here in Southbank on Little Grey Street on this popular little strip of restaurants here. And behind me, you can see that people are coming back to dine in at restaurants. Now, I spoke to some restaurant managers earlier and they said that it was a bit tough over the last 3 days doing takeaway only, that it just wasn't sustainable for them. So they're very, very happy to welcome customers back to dine in at restaurants. Now, of course, that mask mandate is still in place, so make sure you keep your masks handy whenever there's a situation where you can't social distance as well.
Thanks, Jess. It was a tough 2020 for the hospitality and tourism industries amid COVID-19 restrictions, and the snap 3-day lockdown certainly hasn't helped. Business owners say they are anxious about the future, but families are grateful to resume school holiday plans. Baz Ruddock reports.
A slight delay, but now they are on their way.
You bet. Car's half packed. We'll be in that car and we'll be at the accommodation by 8 o'clock tonight. So it's a little treat.
Holiday plans for the Foxover family are back on track after a 72-hour Greater Brisbane lockdown.
We've survived a daughter in Year 12 and, the joys of 2020. So we're just really looking forward to a couple of days of beach and resetting before it all begins again.
While family life returns to normal, businesses are reopening with restrictions in place. Indoor venues now allowed 1 person per 4 square metres inside and 1 per 2 square metres outside. This small cocktail bar in Brisbane's Valley precinct was operating at 50% capacity before the shutdown. Now it will be reduced to 25%.
It was all over one case. If there had been 3 or 4 cases in the one day, well, by all means, lock it down.
Venue owners frustrated dance floors will once again be empty.
It's extremely hard. People want to jiggle, they love the music, and I think for us, we've already cancelled all our weekend entertainment because we know it's harder when you got them on to control these sort of situations.
In gyms, active wear will now include a mandatory accessory.
It's a little bit of discomfort that we can get used to pretty quick for the sake of keeping your health and fitness going and that routine that a lot of people enjoy of just going to the gym and for their mental health. You can learn to live with a mask.
The state government says the measures will be lifted in 10 days, but business owners are concerned that another positive case of the UK strain of the virus could spark further restrictions and hurt businesses already suffering.
The Valley as a whole has suffered through this whole thing, and look, the Valley will always be the Valley and it will always bounce back. But look, it's going to hurt a lot.
For now at least, life is starting to return to normal. Baz Ruddick, ABC News, Brisbane.